You escaped your 9 to 5, started your own business, and now you're grinding 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're checking emails at midnight, creating content at 5 a.m., and measuring your worth by how exhausted you feel. Congratulations! You've successfully recreated the exact same prison you were trying to escape, except now you don't even get benefits or paid time off. Here's what nobody tells you about hustle culture. It's designed to keep you broke while you're optimizing your morning routine and bragging about your work ethic. Actual wealthy people are playing golf at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. They understand something you don't. Real wealth comes from leverage, not labor intensity. Today, I'm going to show you why hustle culture is just the 9 to 5 of entrepreneurship and how to actually build wealth instead of just staying busy. The hustle culture trap is brilliant in its simplicity. It takes every toxic element of corporate employment and repackages it as entrepreneurial virtue. In corporate America, you're rewarded for showing up early, staying late, and looking busy even when you're not productive. In hustle culture, you're rewarded for posting about your 4 a.m. wake-up calls, grinding through weekends, and wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. Both systems share the same fundamental flaw. They confuse activity with progress. Your boss doesn't care if you spent 8 hours solving the wrong problem, as long as you looked busy doing it. Hustle culture operates on the exact same principle. It doesn't matter if your 18-hour days are moving you toward wealth, as long as you're suffering enough to feel virtuous about it. The psychology behind this trap runs deeper than most people realize. We choose busy over effective because busy feels safe. Busy feels like progress. Busy gives us something to point to when people ask what we're doing with our lives. But here's the brutal truth. Busy is just another form of hiding. When you're constantly in motion, you never have to face the uncomfortable question of whether your motion is actually taking you anywhere meaningful. The hustler checking emails at midnight feels productive, but they're really just avoiding the strategic thinking. That would eliminate most of those emails in the first place. This creates what I call identity homeostasis. Your nervous system becomes addicted to the stress and chaos of constant activity. You start to equate your worth with your work ethic instead of your results. The moment you slow down, anxiety kicks in. You feel lazy, unproductive, like you're falling behind some invisible competition. But here's what's really happening. You're seeking external validation through suffering. Just like your old job rewarded you for enduring meetings that could have been emails, hustle culture rewards you for enduring 18-hour days that could have been automated systems. The scarcity mindset that creates employees is the same mindset that creates hustlers. Both believe that if they're not constantly working, someone else will take their spot. Both believe that their value comes from their ability to outwork the competition. Both are trapped in the time for money equation, whether that money comes from a boss or from customers. Most hustlers never escape this equation because they're too busy grinding to build the systems that would free them. They're so focused on working in their business that they never work on their business. They optimize their personal productivity. Instead of building leverage, they become the highest paid employee of a company they happen to own. The wealthy understand something different entirely. They know that the goal isn't to work harder, it's to work less while earning more. They know that true wealth comes from owning assets that generate income without their direct involvement. They know that the moment you have to show up for the money to show up, well, you're still just an employee with a fancier title while you're optimizing your morning routine. Wealthy people are optimizing their systems while you're grinding 18-hour days. They're building assets that work while they sleep. The difference isn't work ethic, it's understanding leverage. High leverage activities create exponential returns on your time investment. Writing a book once that sells for decades is high leverage. Creating a course that teaches itself is high leverage. Building a system that generates revenue without your daily involvement is high leverage. High effort activities, on the other hand, create linear returns. The harder you work, the more you earn. But the moment you stop working, the money stops flowing. Wealthy people focus on systems, not personal productivity. They don't wake up at 4 a.m. to get more hours in their day. They hire people to handle the tasks that don't require their specific expertise. They don't optimize their email management. They hire assistants to manage their email entirely. They don't time block their calendar. They structure their businesses so most decisions can be made without them. There are 3 types of leverage that create real wealth. People, capital, and technology. People leverage means building teams that multiply your capabilities. Instead of doing everything yourself, you hire specialists who are better at specific tasks than you'll ever be. Capital leverage means using money to make money, investing in assets, funding other businesses, or using debt strategically to acquire income-producing properties. Technology leverage means building systems, software or processes that scale without additional human input. Here's a real example of how this works in practice. A hustler might spend 12 hours a day managing their social media, responding to comments, creating content, and analyzing metrics. They're proud of their engagement rates and their growing follower count. A wealth builder, facing the same situation, hires a social media manager for the daily tasks, invests in automation tools for scheduling and analytics, and focuses their personal time on creating the strategic content that only they can create, the content that drives actual revenue. The hustler optimizes their time. The wealth builder eliminates the need for their time entirely. This is what I call strategic disappearance. Systematically removing yourself from the daily operations of your wealth building activities. The goal isn't to work more efficiently within your business. It's to build a business that operates efficiently without you. Most people resist this because they're afraid they're not working hard enough. They've been conditioned to believe that if they're not directly involved in every aspect of their business, they're being lazy or irresponsible. This fear keeps them trapped in the exact same mindset that creates employees. The belief that their constant presence and effort are required for success. But wealthy people understand that their highest value activity is thinking strategically, not executing tactically. They spend their time on decisions that affect the entire system, not on tasks that could be handled by someone making a fraction of their hourly rate. They focus on building leverage, not burning energy. The transformation from hustler to wealth builder isn't about changing what you do. It's about changing how you think about what you do. Hustlers think like employees who happen to own their own company. Wealth builders think like orchestrators who design systems that create value without their constant input. Start by auditing your current activities through the leverage lens. Make a list of everything you did last week. Next to each activity, write whether it was high leverage or low leverage. High leverage activities are those that create exponential returns. Building systems, making strategic decisions, developing key relationships, creating assets. Low leverage activities are those that create linear returns, responding to emails, managing social media, handling customer service, doing bookkeeping. If more than half your time is spent on low-leverage activities, you're still thinking like an employee. You're trading time for money instead of building assets that generate money independently. The neural pathway shift happens when you start measuring ROI on time instead of hours worked. Instead of asking, how can I work more hours? Start asking, how can I create more value per hour? Instead of celebrating how busy you were, celebrate how much you accomplished with minimal effort. This requires rewiring your identity at the deepest level. Your nervous system is currently programmed to equate your worth with your work ethic. You feel guilty when you're not busy. You feel anxious when you're not grinding. You feel like you're falling behind when you're not optimizing every moment of your day. The wealth builder identity operates from abundance, not scarcity. They know that their value comes from their ability to create systems and make strategic decisions, not from their ability to outwork the competition. They know that the goal is to build something that works without them, not to become indispensable to their own business. Here's your practical framework for evaluating every opportunity. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, does this create exponential returns or linear returns? Second, can this be systematized or delegated? Third, does this move me closer to strategic disappearance or deeper into operational dependence? If an opportunity creates linear returns, requires your constant involvement, and makes you more operationally dependent, it's a hustle culture trap disguised as a business opportunity. Real wealth-building opportunities create exponential returns, can be systematized or delegated, and move you towards strategic disappearance. Hustle culture is the 9 to 5 of entrepreneurship. It keeps you busy, broke, and dependent on your own labor. Real wealth comes from leverage, not labor intensity. While hustlers optimize their personal productivity, wealth builders optimize their systems. Your next step is simple. Audit your last week's activities for leverage potential. Identify the low-leverage tasks that are consuming your time and energy. Choose one task that could be delegated, automated, or eliminated entirely. Take action on that choice this week. Stop grinding and start building. Your future wealthy self will thank you.